Hey everyone, hey Wellness crew, and welcome to today's reading of The Art of Contemplation, a gentle path to wholeness and prosperity. Contemporary contemplation. The English word contemplation comes from the combining of the Latin root templum, meaning temple, and the prefix con, meaning with. One might therefore say that the inner meaning of the word is to go into one's own temple, one's own sacred inner space. The addition of the prefix con, however, adds an intriguing dimension to our understanding. When we go into our inner being, there is the notion that we are with someone or something. This is the essence of contemplation, that when we look inwards, we begin to discover connections. We become merged with the mystery. This may sound mystical, and it is, but it is also something we all know already. Most of us have already experienced contemplation. In fact, we already know how to do it. Sometimes when we are facing a problem or a challenge in life, we find that an answer to our problem spontaneously emerges from within. Perhaps it comes in a dream or as we lie in bed at night. Answers and insights come to us in many different ways, but we all know and recall these experiences. One purpose of this book is to increase the frequency of these spontaneous rushes of clarity in our lives. We have only to remember that the real answers to our questions and issues all stem from within us. It is that revelation that must saturate our lives. In today's fast-paced world, you might worry that you simply won't be able to find the time to contemplate. Thank you so much for the like. The opposite is in fact the case. As you will learn, contemplation happens in the gaps of our life. It goes on all the time in the background while we are busy. And then when we stop or rest or pause, suddenly something wells up in us as we realize a rare moment of pure being. These magical moments may only last a few seconds, but when we look back on our busy day, you can be guaranteed that those few moments of calm and lucidity seem like an oasis amidst the noise and fury of our daily lives. The art of contemplation will widen out your life by shining a lens on these special moments until you find yourself hungry for more. As you learn the practice, you will also find that everything about your life becomes more efficient. Your body becomes lighter, your emotions come into balance. Yes, you will. This will be archived and for the public. Emotions come into balance and your mind becomes lucid and clear. The 3 techniques: pausing, pivoting, merging. The practical essence of this book is given over to 3 simple techniques that you can learn, refine, and master over time. Each of these techniques relates to a potential transformation that contemplation can lead you through. Thank you, Raven. The first technique is called pausing, and it relates to the mind. The second technique is called pivoting, and it relates to the emotions. The third technique is called merging, and it relates to the physical body. These techniques are easy to learn and ideally should be learned in the order they are given. In other words, it's better to properly grasp pausing before you move on to pivoting, since pivoting naturally evolves as you practice pausing. Likewise, merging is more advanced and will flow much more easily once you have fully grasped the first 2 techniques. The 3 confirmations: insight, breakthrough, epiphany. As you learn to master the 3 techniques above, these are 3 indicators that will assure you that your contemplation practice is working. These are the 3 confirmations. The first confirmation relates to pausing and is called insight. The second confirmation is called breakthrough, and it relates to pivoting, while the third confirmation, epiphany, relates to the technique of merging. Naturally, as with any new technique, you will need to be diligent and patient before you see the results. However, experience has shown that once you have mastered the first technique of pausing, then the other confirmations will follow naturally and easily in their own time. Each of the 3 techniques, as well as their confirmations, rewards, and applications, are described in the 3 main sections of this book. The epilogue consists of specific techniques and contemplations that can further enhance your practice and help bring the power of contemplation into your daily life. The great reward of contemplation, self-illumination. As you learn the art of contemplation, there are many rewards that will come your way. You will feel calmer more of the time, and your mind will settle and become clear. Decisions will flow more fluidly in your daily life, and your body will remember what it means to relax, which may result in the healing of many old unhealthy patterns. You will naturally be more drawn to things and people that support and serve your evolution, rather than being pulled into difficult and challenging relationships and situations that drain your energy. Above all, the greatest reward of contemplation is a process known as self-illumination. Self-illumination refers to a breakthrough or a series of breakthroughs that come about as our practice of contemplation deepens over time. Self-illumination occurs as we let our contemplation wander freely through our life until it alights on something numinous, something that resonates very deeply inside us. When we discover such an image, idea, or archetype, we can spend hours, weeks, and months contemplating it. The simpler the idea, the deeper it will go in us until one day it simply detonates and we experience self-illumination, an unforgettable state of inner freedom and incandescence. Using this book. Despite its small size, this book has hidden depths. Each sentence contains a distilled shard of wisdom. As you piece these many fragments together, you will begin to inhabit the beautiful world of contemplation. Your life will continue on the surface just as it always has, but deep inside you, something extraordinary will begin to grow. Perhaps in the beginning, you simply need to read the words, and perhaps just a few of them will resonate inside your heart. This is a good beginning. Every time you read a sentence that opens a door inside you, pause for a moment and allow that to percolate. Contemplation, like a rare and fine tea, needs time to steep. You might like to see your relationship to this little book as a journey. Perhaps you have found it during a period of your life when you really need a trusted guide. If so, this book can walk beside you for a time as you make the transition from one phase of your life to another. It can be a support and a comfort in that way. The book is designed to remind you how to contemplate. So even if you read it from cover to cover in a day or so, that is fine. But you will not easily be able to assimilate its depths in a short time. Contemplation is not a fast art. It is a wonderful, deep, lustrous, slow burn. You are therefore invited to approach this book as you might approach a new friend. You cannot know someone new in the single wild rush. You have to meet each other many times. You have to talk, listen, explore, travel together, perhaps argue and disagree at times, until one day you will simply find that you have found a trusted friend for life. So it is with the art of contemplation. Mental contemplation, freeing the mind. The human mind is an amazing instrument, and like a musical instrument, it requires mastery in order for us to enjoy its full potential. You may have a beautiful violin, but if all you can do is scrape a few harsh notes from it, it seems to be a wasted opportunity. Most people do not know how to get the most from their minds. Our modern education is akin to learning all the scales, but it doesn't extend much further, so we rarely learn to play the exquisite music that we were born to play. The art of contemplation teaches us how to free our mind so that it can help us live a life of beauty and depth in which the mind is our ally rather than our enemy. For many people, the mind is something that causes us to worry and fret. It is useful for performing daily tasks and for helping us earn our daily bread, and it is fun to stimulate in all manner of ways, but we rarely treasure our mind for the sacred gift it truly is. So let us begin this journey by honoring the marvelous instrument we have here at our disposal. Our ability to balance left brain logic with right brain intuition is a treasure that can take us wherever we wish to go in life. As you learn the subtle art of contemplation, your mind will begin to realize its full effervescent potential. Once you have become your mind's master, you will begin to taste a sense of freedom and tranquility that you may never have dreamed possible. Opening the mind, the mental plane. If you truly wish to unlock the deep potential of your mind, you must approach contemplation with an open mind. Whenever we begin something new, we generally bring a great deal of learned mental baggage with us. When you enter a temple or a library or a museum, usually you are asked to leave your baggage at the door. This is a symbolic act as well as a practical necessity. Similarly, we enter the inner temple of our mind, having taken our shoes off first. It's important to understand that you are not being asked to change your views or opinions, or to discard any of your learning and education. You are simply asked to put it all down before you begin the process of contemplation. Let's consider what you may have learned about your mind. Most probably, you have been told that your mind is an extension of the working of your brain. Your brain provides the hardware, and you decide which software you'd like to use and when and how to use it. This is more or less the standard common understanding of the human mind. Here is an alternative way of looking at the mind. Imagine that your mind is a kind of radiant sheath that surrounds your physical body. Perhaps this mental body extends far out into the room in which you are currently sitting. From this alternative view, you are living inside your mind instead of the other way around. Other people, too, are walking around with their mental bodies extending outwards into the environment. Collectively, we are all inhabiting a world of thoughts and super subtle vibrations that emanate from each of us. Now imagine you sit down with a friend and these two mental bodies begin to overlap each other. You begin an animated conversation. Thoughts fly between you, carried by the vocal signatures of the words. Some thoughts remain unspoken but are perhaps still subtly felt by both of you. Your thoughts are mostly in resonance with each other, so you both feel comfortable. Now imagine the opposite scenario. You stand opposite someone engaged in an argument. The subtle vibrations of your thoughts glance off each other, colliding and bouncing back and forth, chaotically in a kind of sword play. There is no resonance, so this feels uncomfortable and unpleasant. The notion that thought exists on its own plane is not so hard to believe. It is a subtle vibration, and although we as yet have no definitive instrument for measuring such fine vibrations, that does not mean they do not exist. In this scenario, we might also extend our thinking even further. Through the universal law of affinity, we attract certain thought patterns through the mental dimension. A negative thought pattern, such as, I am not good enough, can attract a similar thought pattern through resonance. This would obviously lead to a challenging relationship, even though it began through resonance. Likewise, a positive thought pattern, such as all human beings are essentially good at heart, can create and attract a very different set of relationships and life experiences. Whether you choose to see the above as an eye-opening possibility or a colorful metaphor, the facts are self-evident. The way we think determines the reality that coalesces around us. Our attitude molds our thought forms. Like the world weather, a high-pressure system pushes the clouds away, whereas a low-pressure system attracts them. In the same way, a clear mind repels confusion, doubt, and negativity. Contemplation creates clarity. The easiest place to begin the journey of contemplation is through the mind. As you are reading these words, you are already using your mind to contemplate. This is the first stage of contemplation. You begin to think in depth about yourself and the purpose of your life. This is an ongoing process, so you needn't feel in any way anxious about it. There is no right or wrong way. You don't need to sit down in a corner and close your eyes, and you needn't start any kind of special practice. Contemplation is a gentle path, and it begins right here, just with you thinking about your life. As you continue about your day, allow the contemplative stream of thought to simply emerge when it wants to, even if it's only for 5 minutes out of the whole day, or even if it's only when you open this book. The important thing to know is that you have now begun your journey. As you move deeper into contemplation, and as it moves deeper into you, it has the wonderful effect of clearing your mind, as though you had just wiped a grubby window pane with a warm, soapy cloth. Such clarity is genuinely rare in our modern world. As it deepens, you will become deeply respected by others, since a person who can see through the miasmas of the mind is someone who can help anyone in almost any situation imaginable. What to contemplate? There are many things we can use as a point of focus for contemplation, and there are two main approaches we can take. We can choose something that inspires us, or we can choose something that challenges us. If we choose something inspiring, like the action or life of a person whom we deeply admire, or perhaps a book, film, or beautiful song, or something in nature, then our contemplation will begin to lift us up. It will raise our spirit, elevate our mood, and suffice us with a sense of peace and wonder. This is one major purpose of learning and mastering contemplation, to increase our capacity for joy and love. The art of contemplation has a universal appeal to all personality types. Whether you are visual, kinesthetic, or have a strong logical bent, you can adapt your favorite techniques to the subject of your contemplation. The main point is to use the moment to elevate your own thinking and feeling. If you are visual, then you can use the wonderful power of your imagination to create an image of peace, love, or beauty right inside your body and mind. If you are more physically oriented, you can use a physical practice, such as running or yoga, as a means to purify your thinking and bring focus and clarity to your inner state. As your practice becomes more advanced, you will realize that you can use anything as a subject for contemplation, so long as it inspires and uplifts your spirit. The other purpose of contemplation is to create more clarity in our lives by helping us diffuse challenges. You can begin this process right now if you wish. You can think about the issue that you currently find most challenging in your life and make that the focus of your contemplation. As you begin to wrap your head and heart around this challenge, and as long as you don't pressure yourself in any way, your contemplation will begin to reveal it in a new light. Your mind will stop tensing up whenever you think of this issue, which means you will more easily be able to come to an inner or outer resolution. This technique is really about holding the problem gently inside yourself and simply breathing into it. The second approach to contemplation leads to wisdom and clarity. You can begin your journey into contemplation by choosing either or both of the two paths above. It is recommended that once you have chosen the subject you wish to focus on, whether inspiration, challenge, or both, you stay with that subject until you experience some manner of opening occur inside you. How to contemplate. The actual process of contemplation is pure simplicity, although over time it reveals layer upon layer of depth and nuance. The three techniques in this book will take us into the process in some depth. Essentially, we begin our contemplation by focusing our awareness on something. If we are contemplating a challenge, then we focus on the resolution of the challenge. We hold that goal for as long as we can, and when our awareness drifts away, we simply keep bringing it gently back again. There should be no tension in this process. If your life draws you away from the subject, that is fine. You can continue your contemplation later when you remember to. This unforced approach works extremely well over a period of time because your awareness can follow its own inner rhythms. Once begun, contemplation never ends. It goes on all the time, even when we do not realize it. The more often we return to the subject of our contemplation, the deeper it enters onto our unconscious mind. It even enters into our dream life. We simply contemplate whenever we feel like contemplating. That is the whole practice. If you are able to set aside a specific time each day for contemplation, that will greatly enhance the results. In the beginning, you will probably find that your focus regularly drifts away from the subject, and at the end of the day, you may have only spent a short time consciously contemplating. There are also certain times of the day that lend themselves more easily to the contemplative state. When we first wake up and before we go to sleep are such examples of such times. We can take full advantage of these times when our awareness naturally turns inwards. Over time, we will also find that we become more conscious of our inner state even during busy times of the day. This can really change the manner in which we approach the many tasks that each day brings us. We find that more and more breath enters into the fabric of our life, and even things we previously considered dull or monotonous begin to take on a new kind of shine. I'm going to highly recommend the Triple Flame app. It is time to take a pause, and I believe it goes off at 3, 6, and 9 p.m. And you can take a pause for as short as 3 minutes, or I believe as long as 10 or 15. It also allows you to choose different music, but it really allows you to have that pause. It really helps you with the contemplative process So if that's something that you'd be interested in checking out, again, the app is called Triple Flame. And of course, it's connected to the Gene Keys and Richard Rudd and the art of contemplation. Thank you so much for joining me for today's live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and or join as it is popping off on the membership tiers. I'll see you on the next live stream or video. Be well, stay wild as well.